It's homework time. The pencil has been picked up and put down 5 times. He's under the table, then at the window, then telling you about dinosaurs. Anything but the 3 maths problems on the page. And you love him more than anything, but you're exhausted. And quietly, you're wondering, is this just a lively kid? Or is something else going on?
He's not a bad kid, Tom. He tries. But homework every night is a battle, and I don't know if that's normal.
I keep telling myself he'll grow out of it. But maybe we should actually ask someone.
If that scene feels familiar, this is for you. A calm, honest look at ADHD in children. The signs of ADHD in children that parents notice but can't always name, what it means, and how to help. I'm a parent too, so let's start with the question so many of us are afraid to ask out loud. Does my child have ADHD? Whatever the answer turns out to be, you are not a bad parent for asking it. In fact, asking is one of the most loving things you can do. Over the next few minutes, we'll look at what ADHD in children really is, how the signs change with age, why boys and girls look so different, the myths that wrongly blame parents, how a diagnosis actually works, and most importantly, the practical things you can do to help. Let's begin. So let's be clear about what ADHD in children actually is, because there's a lot of noise around it. ADHD is not a behavior problem, and it is not the result of bad parenting. It's a difference in how a child's brain develops. Think of the brain's self-management system, the part that handles focus, impulse control, sitting still, waiting a turn, switching tasks. In every child, that system takes years to mature. In a child with ADHD, it simply develops more slowly and works differently. That's why a child with ADHD can focus for hours on the one thing they love and fall apart over the one thing they find boring. In that moment, their brain genuinely can't make the worksheet feel worth doing.
But he can play Lego for 3 hours straight. If he can focus on that, why not his homework?
That's ADHD, not a lack of focus. His brain locks on to what rewards it. The boring task simply doesn't light it up the same way.
And here's the part that matters most for a parent to hear. Children don't catch ADHD, and they don't get it from too much screen time or too much sugar. They're born with a brain wired this way. Around 1 in 20 children is thought to have ADHD, which means in most classrooms, there's at least one. Your child is not alone, and neither are you. It's not that they won't sit still and finish the task. Very often, they can't. Not yet. Not the way we're asking. And understanding that difference changes everything about how we help. Why does catching this early matter so much? Because a child spends their whole day being measured in the classroom, on the playground, at the dinner table. And a child with unrecognized ADHD gets a very particular message over and over. Try harder. Sit still. Why can't you just behave?
Mia's lovely, never any trouble. She just drifts, loses the thread, forgets what we're on.
She does that at home too. I thought she was just a daydreamer.
They hear it from teachers, from other kids, sometimes from us, their parents. Not out of cruelty, but out of not knowing. And slowly, a child starts to believe something dangerous about themselves. That they're the bad kid, the lazy one, the problem. That belief is the real damage, often far more than the ADHD itself. Unrecognized, it can grow into anxiety, into low self-esteem, into trouble at school and friendships that keep breaking. But here is the hopeful part, and it's the reason for this whole video. When ADHD is understood early, everything changes. The child gets support instead of blame. The school can adjust. The parents finally have a map instead of a mystery. Children who are understood early tend to do genuinely well.
You know, your brother was exactly the same at that age. Couldn't sit for a minute.
Maybe it runs in the family then.
Oh, it does, love. It always did.
Early understanding doesn't limit a child, it protects them. It gives them the one thing every child deserves: to be seen as they truly are and helped to grow from there. So, what do the actual signs of ADHD in children look like? Here's something crucial a lot of checklists miss: they look completely different at different ages. Let's walk through it. In toddlers and preschoolers, it's hard to tell because all small children are busy and impulsive. But some stand out, constantly climbing and running when others have settled, almost never playing quietly, big meltdowns that outlast their friends. In primary school children, the signs sharpen because now school demands focus. The hyperactive, impulsive child, think of Leo, can't stay in their seat, blurts out answers, and turns homework into a nightly battle. But watch for the quieter picture too. The inattentive child, think of Mia, isn't disruptive at all. She's the daydreamer. She stares out the window, forgets instructions halfway through, loses her things. She's not a problem in class, so nobody worries. And that is exactly the trap.
Two children, same diagnosis, opposite pictures. One can't stop moving. The other can't stop drifting.
So the quiet one gets missed.
Almost every time.
So across all ages, here are the two pictures side by side. The hyperactive, impulsive child can't stay seated, blurts out, interrupts, always on the go. The inattentive child daydreams, forgets instructions, loses things, makes careless mistakes. Both are ADHD. Both deserve to be seen. And across every age, the through line is this: the behavior is more extreme, more frequent, and more disruptive than other children the same age. And it shows up not just at home, but at school and with friends too. One place only usually points to something else. Everywhere points to ADHD. Now to one of the most important and most overlooked parts of this whole subject: the difference between boys and girls. For decades, ADHD was seen as a boy's condition, the loud, bouncing, disruptive boy who can't sit still. Girls are a different story. Girls with ADHD are far more likely to have the quiet, inattentive kind. They're not climbing the walls. They're the dreamers, staring out the window, the sweet, disorganized, away with the fairies girls. They're often bright, they try hard, and they learn to mask.
Mia's grades are fine, so she's never been flagged. But fine can hide a lot of quiet struggling.
She comes home exhausted, and I never understood why.
Holding it together all day is exhausting.
So the outward signs vanish, the inner storm stays, and the ADHD gets read as shyness, or being scatty, or just a bit of a daydreamer. The cost is real. Girls with ADHD are diagnosed years later than boys, if at all, often not until they're teenagers or even adults, by which point the anxiety and self-doubt have had years to grow. So if you have a daughter who is dreamy, forgetful, disorganized, and quietly overwhelmed, even if she's never once disrupted a class, please don't rule this out. Quiet does not mean fine. ADHD in girls simply wears a softer disguise. Same condition, different costume. And once you know to look past the quiet, well-behaved surface, you start to see the child who has been working twice as hard all along, just to look like everyone else. Before we go further, let's clear away the myths, because they cause real harm. and they pile guilt onto parents who don't deserve it. Here are the 5 that do the most damage. Myth 1. It's caused by too much sugar. It isn't. Myth 2. It's caused by screens. Screen time is worth managing for every child, but it does not create ADHD. Myth 3, the heavy one, it's just bad parenting. Let me say this plainly, parent to parent. It is not.
My mom keeps saying if we were just stricter, he'd behave.
Strict parents have kids with ADHD too. It's how his brain is wired. It's not something we did.
Yeah, it's not our fault. And it's not his.
Myth 4, they could focus if they just tried harder. This might be the cruelest one. A child with ADHD is often trying far harder than the child beside them, just to produce half the result. It is not a lack of trying. It's a difference in wiring. And so often, one parent watches their child and thinks quietly, that was me. Because ADHD is largely inherited. Myth 5, they'll simply grow out of it, misses that too. Many carry it into adulthood. What changes with age isn't the ADHD, it's how well they've been understood and supported along the way. So if anyone has made you feel that your child's struggles are your fault, please set that down. It was never true. So how does a real diagnosis actually happen? Because there is no single blood test, no brain scan that says yes or no. It's a careful process of gathering the whole picture. And knowing the steps takes away a lot of the worry. It usually starts with a noticing. Very often, it's a teacher. Because school is where focus and sitting still are demanded all day, teachers frequently spot the pattern first. Or it's you, the parent, trusting a gut feeling.
I'll send questionnaires to you and to Leo's teacher. ADHD has to show up in more than one place, so I need both views.
So it's not just my word for it?
Exactly. Home and school together tell the real story.
That's the piece parents don't expect. The clinician asks you to fill in questionnaires and asks your child's teacher to fill in a matching set. Because ADHD has to show up in more than one place, both views matter. A child who struggles only at home or only at school may have something else going on entirely. Next, they rule other things out. A child who can't concentrate might actually have a hearing problem, a vision problem, poor sleep, or anxiety, all of which can look like ADHD. A good assessment checks these carefully. And there's an important criterion. The signs need to have been present from a young age and lasted many months, not just appeared in a single stressful term. That's the whole path. Notice, visit the doctor, gather questionnaires from home and school, rule out other causes, and look at the child's history. This is who can diagnose ADHD in a child: a pediatrician, a child psychologist, or a child psychiatrist. Thorough by design, because getting it right for a child matters more than getting it fast. Now the part every parent is really waiting for. How can you actually help a child with ADHD? Whether or not a diagnosis is on the table yet, these approaches help, and none of them require a prescription. Here are 6. First, and most powerful, structure and routine. An ADHD brain struggles to organize time from the inside, so we build the structure on the outside. Same meal times, same homework slot, same bedtime. A visual schedule on the wall turns an invisible day into something a child can actually see.
Out here, that energy is a superpower. He never runs out. On the pitch, he shines.
It's the first place he really feels good at something.
Then we keep him running. Confidence starts here.
Second, give instructions differently. Go and get ready for school is far too big. It hides 10 steps, and the child gets lost by step 2. Break it down. One instruction at a time, eye contact first, kept short. Put on your socks, then the next. It feels slower, but it works. Third, and this changes homes, catch them being good. A child with ADHD hears no, stop, and don't hundreds of times a day. So flip the ratio. Praise the small things, immediately and specifically. Reward reaches an ADHD brain far better than punishment ever will.
We can seat him near the front, give movement breaks, and write the instructions down, as well as saying them.
You do all that?
Of course. We just needed to understand him first.
Fourth, work with the school, not against it. Ask about support, a seat near the teacher, extra time, movement breaks. Fifth, protect the friendship and the fun. Sport, music, climbing, anything that lets a child shine builds the confidence that school can chip away. And last, quietly the most important, explain ADHD to your child, gently and positively. Tell them their brain works in a different, wonderful way, like a race car engine that just needs the right brakes. Not broken, different. A child who understands their own mind and knows they're loved exactly as they are can go a very long way. These 6 things ask for no prescription and no diagnosis, only understanding. And that you can start giving tonight. If any of this has struck a chord, here's where to turn, and the path is more approachable than it feels. Your first and easiest step is your child's pediatrician or family doctor. Tell them what you've noticed, at home and from school. They can begin the conversation and refer you onward.
There's a waiting list, isn't there? I'm scared we'll lose months.
There often is. So we start school support now, while you wait. You don't have to sit still until the appointment comes.
Loop in the school early, too. In many places, they can put support in place even while you wait for a formal assessment. And you don't have to navigate this alone. Trusted organizations exist for exactly this, offering parent guides, support groups, and reliable information written for families. One honest note, waiting lists can be long, and that's frustrating when you just want answers. Stay gentle with yourself and stay persistent. Asking for help isn't a sign you failed your child. It's one of the most loving things a parent can do. So let's bring it together. 3 things to carry with you. 1. ADHD in children is a real difference in brain development. It is not bad behavior, not bad parenting, and not something a child chooses. 2. It looks different in every child. Loud in one, quiet and dreamy in the next, which is exactly why so many kids, especially girls, are missed. And 3, with early understanding and the right support, children with ADHD thrive. This is not a verdict on your child's future. It's the beginning of understanding it. Your child is not broken. Your child is not the problem. And you, watching this, caring this much, looking for answers, you are not a bad parent. You're a good one. That's why you're here. If this helped you see your child a little more clearly, tell me in the comments. What's one thing you understand about your child now that you didn't before? And for more calm, research-based looks at the mind, this is Soft Rain TV. Take a breath, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you next time.